Hello and welcome to the Enquiry Podcast. My name is Nerida Mills. I am your host, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you along for this episode. What we do in the Enquiry Podcast is really explore and inquire with experts in their field in regards to what it is that actually creates a human experience, and more importantly, what it is that we can use to influence the human experience for our own development, growth, and expansion. So welcome along. Let's dive in, and I hope you enjoy it. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Enquiry Podcast. My name is Nerida, and I have Marina Lovasz with me today, which I am so excited to have you on, let me tell you. I actually put out a call on my socials probably a couple early in the new year, looking for an amazing astrologer that I could bring on to the podcast and share with us a little bit about astrology and a little bit about the year ahead. And your name was the one that was really came up quite a lot. So you come very well recommended. And, I've got a lot of people that I trust implicitly in this area, and they were the ones who were like, you need to speak to Marina. So welcome onto the podcast, Marina. Tell the viewers a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, Nerida. Well, what can I say? Gosh. Okay, so my background actually is in psychology and women's studies. So I used to have for a very short time, a mainstream role in psychiatric mental health. But actually, I ended up moving into what I call soul work or transpersonal counseling or therapy about in my late 30s, early 40s. Actually, that's not completely true. Actually, I was teaching the sacred arts back in the early days, in my early 20s. So I did have my first business then. So I have been doing it for a long time. But I think what happened with the psychology part is I wanted to be taken seriously because I felt like it wasn't, the work, the humanities is not really given a lot of credence in mainstream society. And yeah, that's why I did that. And then I soon got very bored of that
Especially
and
20,
transitioned.
30 years, like 20 years ago, it was, I was having this conversation with my daughter the other day around how, 20 years ago, if you were talking anything esoteric, you'd just get laughed at. People would
Yeah,
just think you're completely crazy. And stuff that we now consider quite mainstream and is quite well accepted and understood at that time was like you were just completely off your rocker, totally woo-woo, huge conspiracy theory, like all of the labels. And so it's very interesting. I'm sure you can relate, having kind of tapped into that space back then and seen the progression of how society has actually come to understand and accept. And thank God for, technology is definitely part of that, like our understanding of
definitely.
technology and how technology now is actually proving what we've known for a very long time or what the ancients have known for a very long time. Such an
Yeah.
interesting time to be alive.
Yeah, yes, yes. So I've been kind of playing in this field for over 30 years, but this work isn't unfamiliar to me. My parents or my father was very open to the occults and esoteric, anything that was basically, um, yeah, transpersonal. He had a deep interest in. So I was largely influenced by his interests, his passions, and yeah, so he kind of opened the door for me to explore this from very young, like very young,
Yeah,
8, 9. It was normal conversation in our house. So.
that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
I love
thanks.
that. I love it. And we've got a
Yeah.
big year ahead, actually, before we go into that, I would love for people who aren't super familiar with astrology or are kind of new to the space, can you explain how you kind of break down astrology and how it actually works for people as
Mm.
short kind of snippet?
Well, yeah, where do I start? So it is a rabbit hole, let's
It
just say
is.
that. But essentially, astrology is an esoteric psychology.
Mm.
And all the planets that you see in the sky or how the planets are described are based on mythologies and ancient mythologies, Greek and Roman mythologies. And these mythologies are also a form of psychology and esoteric psychology. So, in ancient Rome and uh, ancient Greece, we did try back in those days try and explain the human experience through mythology. And actually, it's a really intelligent way um, to understand and to embody our own psychological processes. I find the archetypes that we explore in the astrology and the mythologies are so true to what's still happening today.
Mm.
Not much has changed
Mm.
since way back then. We're still brutal in a lot of ways. We still fall in love. We still experience jealousy. We still, romanticize our lives. We still want adventure, and all of the planets kind of encapsulate the stories, the mythologies of our lives.
Mm.
And so I love that about mythology, but I also feel like, too, that astrology is a way to be in conversation with the heavens,
Mm.
with something greater than ourselves. And I've got a wonderful telescope now I like to look through that I bought for my daughter actually, but actually it's mine too.
Yeah.
But looking through the telescope, it kind of puts things into perspective. We're looking at things that are millions of light years away, deep space. It's just incredible. And we are a part of that. We're not separate from that.
Mm.
So yeah, I love the fact that I'm looking up at the night sky and I'm having conversations with the cosmos. We're like little bodies, little cosmic bodies having conversations with the big cosmic bodies out in the sky. It's just beautiful.
Mm.
So I don't know if that's put it into context for you, but yeah, astrology is a map. Let's call it an astro map. And what we usually start with is a natal chart. And the natal chart, I like to kind of explain it like your soul's blueprint for
Mm.
this lifetime. It's like your unique fingerprints, what you've come in with, what gifts you have, your strengths. It even speaks to your future, your past, the relationships you're likely to encounter, your legacy, shadow material. It's all in your chart. It's all there. Like people go out there looking for signs, just look at your chart. It's all
Yeah.
in your chart. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's a map, right, to guide us into our own unique evolution. So we grow into our astrology chart. We grow into our natal chart.
Mm.
So it's a bit like a mandala, really. And yeah, incredible. So much you can read so much in a chart. It's a rabbit hole, really. You can just keep going. And there's a
Absolutely.
lot to
Well, it's
explore.
interesting. Like I was
Mm.
saying to you before we hit record, astrology is something that I have had a deep interest in for such a really long time. And I've never actually formally studied it. And part of what's held me back from formally studying it is because I know the depth of the rabbit hole that it is. And I'm like, can you
Yeah,
really? Because once I get into something, like I want to get into the depth of it. It's like, can
yes,
you really afford right now to invest that time into this thing? And I have a
yes,
feeling that it will come at some point, but
yes.
as of yet, not quite yet.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I've got Mercury and Uranus in my fourth house. And that placement in itself gives me a very quick mind. I can think pretty quickly and I learn really quickly and I get like downloads. They just drop in when I least expect. Been really supportive for me in learning astrology because within the four months of learning astrology, doing my training, I started reading charts. And within 3 months of that, I'd read 40 charts.
Wow.
That's how like I get fixated on
Yeah.
something when I'm interested, I go all in and go deep, get really passionate about it and go deep really quickly. But that's what makes me me, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
So the purpose of us going to the podcast today was to really give the listeners a little bit of an insight into what is to come and how to utilize or how we can utilize astrology to help empower us through some of the edges in that, and also to
Yes.
take advantage of the opportunities that are there
Mhm.
within what's to come. So I know you've done some preparation work around
Yes.
this and some research. So I would love to just hand over to you for a little bit, if that's okay, and you
Sure.
can walk us through what it is that you're seeing and what you think is the most beneficial way that anybody listening can actually take advantage of the times that we're in. Because I know, sometimes it can feel like I'll speak for myself. Sometimes I can feel like the world is losing its mind, like everything is quite chaotic, and it's very easy to, especially if you're an empathetic person, which I think a lot of people who are listening to this podcast will be, it's very easy to lose yourself into the suffering and the
Yeah.
potential for suffering that we can
Mm.
see with some of the decisions that are being made at the moment. And so, bringing ourselves back into what we can influence and control, I think is really helpful. And I know for myself, astrology really helps me to do that. So, yeah, I'd love for you to
Mm.
share. Um,
Mm. Yeah, I'm excited to share with you. So, what I'm going to do is I've just checked out the astrology for this year, what's going on with the planets, and we're interested in the major planets, or maybe I should say the outer planets, because these are really slow-moving planets, and these are the ones that impact on the collective, all of us, basically. The inner planets like Mars, Venus, the Moon, they move so quickly, it's kind of hard to capture, and they're very personal. So they're great when you're looking at transits for personal charts, but we're going to look at some of the outer planets. And the first one I want to speak to is Neptune. Now, this is like, it speaks to what you were talking about, feeling like you've been out to sea, kind of floating in the never never, floating out in the current. That's how I describe it. What sign are you actually,
I'm
Nerida?
a Taurus sun and rising, right on the
Wow.
cusp of Gemini, and Cancer moon.
Wow. Taurus, sun and rising.
Yeah, double whammy.
Yeah, that is a double. Yeah, that is definitely you being really grounded and embodied. I bet. Do you do embodiment work? Because I
Yeah,
imagine that
I
would be, yeah, yeah, that's a good tip.
do.
Anyway, so yeah, so Neptune has been in Pisces for the last 14 years. And what we've seen in the last 14 years has been people becoming more spiritual.
Mm.
There's been a lot more conversations around the transpersonal. Um, Everybody's doing cacao ceremonies, everybody's a sound healer. There's just been this kind of awakening and really beautiful awakening that's happened. And there's also been the extreme of that where people, because we've been floating, Piscean energy is like floating in the ethers. It's really groundless, and there's just this kind of endlessness. There's so much spaciousness around that people have been losing their grounds over the last 14 years.
Mm.
And Neptune speaks to mysticism. It speaks to addictions, codependencies. It speaks to where we might feel confusion or disillusioned, fantasy, limerence, that sort of thing. And so we have been drifting in this space. And what I always find, or what I found really interesting as I've been contemplating on this, is that there's been like this uprise or this surge of born again Christians, which has been amazing. That all happens during this Pisces, Neptune in Pisces ingress. Like it's incredible that this happens through this time. Now, as I said, Neptune has been in Pisces for 14 years. And Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, right? The last constellation. Today, 26th of January, Neptune finally moves into Aries. Neptune is rebirthing, right?
Wow.
So this is like pivotal. This is big. Like it's not by mistake I accidentally signed up for the 26th. I'm like, oh, how, you just we can't make that up, right? This
Yeah.
is a spiritual rebirth for
Mm.
all of us, for the collective. Okay, so basically, Neptune's going to be spending 14 years in Aries now, as of today. So that's going to create a massive shift from floating in the ether and false gurus and all the things that we saw. We saw lots of people being exposed, and
Yeah.
that changes. Now we are rebirthing our own like spiritual identity. Who am I outside of the dogma?
Mm.
What is my relationship to spirit, to God, to whatever, however you want to name that? And yeah, where we might have been lying to ourselves or BSing ourselves about relationships too. So it basically what's happening is we're not drifting anymore. We're being called to like anchor.
Mm.
And yeah, there's this kind of any identity confusion that we may have had, which is so Neptune in Pisces, because we're kind of floating in the abstract and we're like symbolic metaphors, a lot of it doesn't make sense. It's kind of not concrete. Now where that confusion turns into this pressure to act. Now, Aries is really fast action, lots of movement, competitive, driven, ambitious, and it's focused on me, myself, and I. Who am I in this world? How does my soul genuinely want to express herself? What is my true, unique expression? So, yeah, we're forcing this new identity now it's being forced, right, to come through, along with direction, getting clear on our direction. Am I allowed to swear? Do you do
Yeah, I
swearing?
swear all the
Yeah.
time.
What
Yeah.
the fuck are you doing with your life? Who
Yeah.
are you and what the fuck are you doing, right? So
Yeah.
this is the question that comes up. So this is really exciting. Like today, maybe we could think of this rebirth as Neptune evolving our soul's evolution. This is the next stage or the next chapter.
Yeah.
And like any new chapter, any new cycle, we can expect some initiations, right? That's going to happen
Nervous.
over the next
Insert nervous
14 years.
laugh.
Right. That's right. So, and along with that, we've also got Saturn rebirthing. Okay, so Saturn, it takes Saturn about 2.5 years to move through a sign. Okay, and so, yeah, it now will be rebirthing into Aries. Same deal. Okay, yeah. And except it doesn't rebirth until what date have I got here? Yeah, 13th of February. And also, to make this more intense, Saturn and Neptune are holding hands at the moment. It's called a conjunction. They're blending, they're merging together. So they're supporting each other. So Saturn sets us to task. So Saturn is saying, okay, you've been floating in the fucking never never for, never never land or whatever it's called. Now it's time to lay the foundations. Now it's time for identity integration. Now it's time for taking responsibility for what you did back then. Now you're going to land it in today. Now you have to make it mean something.
Mm.
So there's a lot of pressure around self-identity and self-definition with Saturn. Saturn wants to set you to task. He's maturing you. So
Mm.
he's building spine. He's building some kind of solidity in your body, the grounding, which is your landscape. You're all over that. You're fine. But those who have been floating in the abyss, they've got some groundwork to do.
Mm.
And so there's a strengthening. There's like like when you're lifting muscles, it's not lifting muscles, lifting weights.
Yeah.
It's not just building muscle. It's actually strengthening your bones.
Yeah.
That's what Saturn wants to do. He's strengthening you so that you have the courage to make brave decisions based on this new identity
Really
that's emerging.
fortifying the integrity of self.
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
good.
that's such a beautiful way to say it. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Yeah. So that's this is huge, right? We've got like this rebirth. We're all rebirthing, really. It's a spiritual rebirth. And yeah, Neptune is about compassion and empathy too, right? But this is about no longer kind of like fawning or people pleasing or leaning into everybody else's, being codependence. This is about reclaiming your own identity, having compassion, self-compassion, empathy for yourself,
Mm.
prioritizing you, being
Yeah.
selfish. It's time, right? If you don't have your own back, nobody else will. They just won't. So this is the lesson with Saturn and Neptune. So this is huge. Okay. Shall I keep going or do you
Yeah.
want to ask me some questions?
Oh, I love it. No, I think that was
Okay.
yeah.
We got
I
time?
can
All right.
I can just as a quick reflection piece, I can see this playing out in my clients. Like if you look at the common theme, well, obviously everyone expresses it differently, but
Yeah.
the common thread between everyone is this real like reclamation of
Yes.
actually like here's my staff in the sand. This is who I am, and I'm like really claiming to live it now,
Yes.
not just think about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That kind of movement, that embodiment, that movement with your fist is so Aries. It's so Mars. It's so fire. That's kind of like, yeah, you just a stake in the grounds. Love that. Yeah, and so then we've got Uranus enters into Gemini. So it's been in Taurus, but now it moves into Gemini. And wow, okay, this is going to be electrifying. Okay, moving into Gemini, and that'll be April 25th. So this is like new learning, new perceptions, new realities birthing, new neural pathways, a repatterning of your nervous system, because actually Gemini affects your nervous system, as does Uranus. So there's, opportunities to repattern nervous system work, which is incredible. And so Uranus is going to be in Gemini for 8 years. Okay, so this isn't just a short little spin, right? This is like we are rewiring,
Which is
which
so
I
interesting.
think is
You
amazing.
consider what you were just talking about with the Neptune and what was the other planet? Sorry.
Saturn.
Neptune and Saturn, it's like this new identity, and now we're going to work on your nervous system. And like whenever I think of nervous system, I think of capacity, right? It's like,
Correct.
where's your capacity at? And so then we've got another planet coming in to awaken capacity through the nerve. Oh, this is, yeah, it's just beautiful. I love it.
Oh, it's just delicious, isn't it?
Yeah,
This is, you
absolutely.
can keep going. Yeah, there's heaps there. So, yeah, basically the potentials of this, though, the potential shadow side of this is mental overload.
Sure.
So there will be definitely need to unpeople, right? To have time out because you'll be so overstimulated. Uranus is going to drop down some incredible downloads because that's what Uranus does. Lightning strikes and then the downloads just kind of drop in. You can't, with Uranus, he's a divine rebel of a planet, and you can't control Uranus. He'll decide when the downloads arrive. You just have to basically wait for them to show up, right?
Yeah.
But information comes through fast. So you can expect that we start evolving really quickly. And here's the thing, look what's happening with AI.
Mm,
Look what's happening with technology. How can we not be affected by that,
absolutely.
right? And that in itself is just a whole other conversation. But with Uranus and Gemini, we're going to see some like really amazing breakthroughs with
Mm,
AI over the coming years. Because Gemini makes connections with things that you wouldn't ordinarily put together, and then it's just so intelligent, right? Gemini is such an intelligent sign. And so, education's going to shift in Uranus. Uranus wants to break down old structures that no longer serve us and builds new ones, progressive ones, evolutionary ones. So we are evolving the brain. We
mm,
are evolving our minds, our thoughts, and our perceptions. So this will be rapid though. With Gemini is really quick-witted too. It'll be really rapid. We should see like well, it'll be interesting, right? When we get to the end, the 7 to 8 years, and we look back and go, wow, how much did we learn in that time? Yeah. So we're talking about breaking out outdated patterns,
mm,
right? Identities, obviously, that no longer serve us, nervous system activations, right? So unless if you don't have that felt sense of safety and grounding in your body, if you
mm.
haven't developed that capacity,
Start to.
yeah, you're probably going to get really activated under
Yes.
this energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on a much more fun note, we've also got Jupiter. See, these are major things that are happening this year, all in one year. Amazing. So Jupiter enters Leo, and that's going to be on the 1st of July. Now, this is fun. This is expansion of the inner child, of play,
Mm,
of where you're most shining. So you might, for the people that are listening, and for yourself, Nerida, you might want to think about, where am I most shiny in my life? Where am I most lit? Where do I get to like just play and be myself and be in the theater of, be on the stage, the theater, the main actress, the main actor, right? That's what Jupiter in Leo invites us to become, to expand our lights, to
mm,
become bigger, to be in our muchness, to be too much even. So it's all about self-expression and the confidence. Jupiter's really confident. Jupiter's optimistic. Jupiter's the four-leaf clover. And he's saying if you can just allow yourself to play and be in your natural, organic self-expression, the inner child, good luck crosses your path. Opportunities cross your path. I'm going to ensure you'll be taken care of
mm.
financially, emotionally, wherever Jupiter lands in your chart, obviously. You can personalize it like that. So you might find that narrative for yourself, you might be more on social media, or
Mm.
maybe you'll be doing more live videos or something like that, or maybe you'll be hosting events with a larger amounts of people. It
Yeah.
could look like that too. So your creativity expands with Jupiter. Now, Jupiter will spend 1 year in Leo. So make the most of it. Make the most of this Leo energy, right? Leo wants to play, and it is about wearing your hearts on your sleeve. And that's what makes Leos beautiful. They do wear their heart on their sleeve, and they're just really warm, generous, loving people. They're just great to be around because of that generosity.
Yeah.
So the invitation is for us to become, that playful child again, the innocence of that, right?
Yeah. It's interesting. I
So,
have three Leos in the house. We have three Leos
oh,
and
right.
three Scorpios in the family, and then a Capricorn and myself as a Taurus. And so Leo's is an interesting one for me. Like one of the other things that I see with Leo, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but there's an element of wanting to be seen, right?
Yes, definitely.
So it's like, which is interesting if you tie in that identity piece and the nervous system piece. It's like, how much can you actually let your true self be seen in the playful nature of who you are through that
Correct.
period, which I love.
Oh, amazing, Nerida. You just like that was so beautifully said. That was so integrated. It was so coherent. That was amazing. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Leos are the most expressive, I think, like, in terms of they're very theatrical.
Yeah.
They feel a lot, very emotional.
Yeah.
I love that about Leo. I've got Leo moon, so I'm a bit biased around that. Anyway. Yeah, so we can see that there's a lot happening this year, right? And it's really exciting. And then, I have detailed what's going down for each of the signs.
Mm.
Do we have time? Would you like me to do that?
Sure. Yeah. I think we've probably got about another 40, no, not the 45, about another 15.
Oh, plenty.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So all of these signs that I'm going to share with you now can be applied to sun, moon, and rising, but they're going to show up differently, okay? Except for you, because you're a Taurus, Taurus, Taurus. So the rising sign will show where it's happening in your day-to-day life, okay? The sun sign will show where it's happening in your identity and the direction, okay? And the moon will show your emotional relationship to it,
Mm.
whatever the theme is, all
Yeah.
right? So I wanted to say this actually, when I heard you talking about Leos and da 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 within the house, just for the listeners here who might be really kind of green around astrology, that we have all the signs in our chart.
Mm.
So we are a makeup of all the signs, just FYI. So we all have Leo somewhere, right? Okay, so Aries. Start with Aries. Now, Aries, because of this this Neptune moving into Aries, this is going to be so impactful on Aries and Libra, actually.
Mm.
So this means a lot. They're kind of going to take the load for us, do a lot of the work for us, which we're all grateful for. So the main focus this year for Aries is identity and direction. So you will be under pressure to define who you are. Your old self-images collapse, no longer fits for who you're becoming. You just cannot drift endlessly. You're being forced now to be direct, to find direction, to course correct, maybe is a better way to describe that. So with Uranus in Gemini, there'll be some kind of mental overload. So you really do need to take some time out, really important. And yeah, your creative confidence increases, obviously, with that Jupiter placement. So, bottom line is for Aries, rising, sun, or moon, you're forced to grow up around who you are and how you lead. Okay. Taurus, we've got 12 to go through. We'll get through them. Taurus. So, the main focus, the main feature will be on mental health
Mm.
and rest and money. Great.
Happy days.
Yeah, that's right. Bring it. Yeah. So, with this Saturn and Neptune in Aries business that's going on, your old coping strategies no longer work.
Mm.
Okay. They're not a fit anymore. So you have to be really careful around burnouts. because there's the potential for that. And Taurians, just in general, like they have what I call a long burn, and they can be really stubborn. They can stay somewhere for too long just because of their stubborn nature. They just can't quite, trying to get Taurian to change a job, their employment can be really tricky. They'll stay in their employment role for years, right? So yeah, you're being called to just be very careful around burnout this year. And income is going to it's going to come in quick, okay? And because it comes in quick, it can go out fast quick. So the invitation will be to be careful when it goes out. It'll come in quick though, right? So there'll be fluctuations this year. But no, when it goes in, when it goes out, it comes back in, right? So that's the good thing about Uranus. That's how Uranus is affecting you. And yeah, you'll earn money in alternative ways. With Uranus in the second house, you will. So Jupiter, this will be around home and family for you. So this creativity, this expansion of light, this will be around the home and the generosity of your own home. And I don't know what that'll mean for you personally, but you can apply that personally, right? Family, the impact on family. So the bottom line is for Taurus, you slow down internally, which you're skilled at. Lucky you, right? You slow down internally whilst rebuilding financial safety. Okay?
Makes sense.
Yeah. Gemini rising, main focus, identity and nervous system. So friendships and groups may fall away. So there might be a shift, an evolution around friendships, that you might feel a little bit disillusioned around communities that you thought were a fit for you, or it's just no longer working. So you start to have rapid identity changes, particularly with that Uranus in Gemini, right? Rapid identity changes. And also you're given a lot of confidence in utilizing your voice this year. Speaking your truth, using your voice, writing, communicating, publishing. Great year for that for Gemini. So the bottom line for Gemini is you reinvent yourself and you reinvent how you move through the world. So you're recalibrating a new identity, basically. But that's pretty much for all of us anyway. But yeah, Cancer. Main focus for Cancer is career and your public role. Okay, how exciting. So Cancer, there might be some confusion, but around, what am I doing? What is my legacy? What does it all mean? Like, what is my sole purpose? So that's kind of unavoidable. This is that Saturn, Neptune, you're being set, Saturn, Neptune, you're being set to task to get clear on your direction. So your professional direction must be defined this year. And there might be some anxiety or some mental restlessness. Is there somebody that you know that's a Cancer?
I'm a Cancer moon, so how I am.
Oh, you're a Cancer moon.
Yeah. So the emotional association to my career feels like it needs to lock in this year.
Wow.
You're saying.
Okay. I thought you were a Taurus rising, Taurus moon, Taurus sun.
No. Taurus sun, Taurus rising, Cancer moon.
And Cancer moon. Oh, phew. You need some emotion. That's great.
Yeah. It would have been far too much.
That was when you said Taurus and Taurus and Taurus. I was like, wow.
Be completely.
Yeah. That's a really grounded, concrete person. No, not right. No, actually, Taurians are really essential. I shouldn't say that. So anyway, yeah, right. So that makes a lot of sense for you then. Yeah. So Jupiter in Leo impacts and improves your income. Okay. So that Uranus we're talking about for your Taurus, where money comes in and money goes out, right? It's likely there's going to be a big influx of money coming in. Okay. So that's good. That's great. So bottom line for Cancer is you're pushed into clarity about work and responsibility. Okay. Leo, right. This is about beliefs and purpose. Saturn and Neptune will be impacting on your belief system and breaking down what is a load of BS, basically. Old philosophies don't work anymore. So you're developing a new philosophical insight, or you're opening up to expanding your, excuse me, your philosophy. Excuse me. And yeah, so Uranus will also create some social changes in your circles as well. So it's likely that friends will start to shift too. And also, you'll be developing your confidence and your visibility piece to rise, as we would expect for Leo, right? So this year for Leo, you redefine what you stand for and how you step forward visibly, how you want to be seen, right? Okay, Virgos. So the main focus is finance and emotional bonds. So this is about shared money, investments maybe, where you might be business partnerships, something like that. And your dependency on that will be tested, right? So if you have a codependency on somebody else's finances, that's going to test you this year. So there'll be illusions around support that will collapse this year. People that you thought were on your side, maybe not. Doesn't mean that something terrible is going to happen, but you start to see the reality of the situation that you're in, that you have to have your own back. And that's what this year is about for Virgo. And so Uranus brings sudden career changes. Okay. So that can look like a complete change of occupation. I'm a Virgo, by the way.
You're
So
for you then.
yeah, that's right. I was just thinking that well, actually, I'm leaning more into the astrology this year. So, that kind of makes sense to me. Anyway, yeah, so Jupiter in Leo, there's a need for rest and retreat as well. So that recalibration, reorientation in your own body, the reinhabitation of your body is really important for Virgo because Virgos can overanalyze. So the bottom line is you become more self-reliant emotionally and financially.
Beautiful.
Hey, Libra, how are we going for time?
Yeah, good. Yep, you're fine.
Great. Okay, so Libra, main focus will be on relationships. And so relationships get a reality check. Good luck. Fantasy about others dissolve. So the limerence, do you know what limerence is? It's when we like create fantasies in our minds around a person or a situation based on a very kind of short affair, or you just met someone and you
Yeah.
create this story about what it all means, and then people become fixated on it, and they can spend years in limerence. We see this with the twin flame
I'm pretty sure
ideology.
that was my relationship with my kid's dad.
Oh,
Like,
right.
yeah,
Yes.
I decided the day we met what our relationship meant. That was like, it was the decision was made. It was very clear to me
Yes.
the path that we had, and that decision um, made many more decisions flow on from that. Like there was a
Right.
commitment to that initial decision. Yeah.
Yes, yes, I know limerence well, not really well personally. So I can speak to it. I've grown up now, though. Hopefully, I've matured.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Anyway, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So coming back to Libra. So yeah, fantasies about others kind of dissolve. You get a reality check around the people that you are in relationship with, having relational experiences with. Your beliefs will shift around those relationships. And because of that, you go out more, you socialize more, you'll expand your social reality because you're not getting what you want from what this relationship was and is no longer available to offer you. So you've got to commit or exit existing relationships. Okay. So Scorpio rising, main focus will be work, health, and routines. And yeah, there is a potential for burnout if you're not taking care of yourself, if the systems you have in place are not efficient, okay, if they're not supporting you. So it's like not having a proper website and people are just messaging you all over the place and you can't keep up, no booking systems. You're going to you lose your mind over that. And so, yeah, your health and work habits have to change this year. The invitation is for them to change. And Uranus and Gemini, shared finances shift suddenly. Okay, so if you don't know what that might mean, but
Or
Scorpios.
either way.
Okay. Yeah. And so Jupiter in Leo, creates career visibility, which increases potential for income too. Okay. So burnout, the potential for burnout. So Scorpio has to be careful. Your bottom line is to rebuild. Saturn wants you to rebuild your daily life so it's sustainable. So you're not collapsing under the pressure, because Saturn's going to put you under pressure. All right, Sagittarius rising, and a few more left. Sagittarius rising, or Sagittarius moon or sun. Main focus will be on creativity and desire. How delicious. So creative discipline is required. So you'll be set to task on bringing those ideas out into manifest form. It's not just going to be, you're not just going to be talking about it. Saturn's going to say, right, you've been talking about it for the last 14 years. Can we please make this happen now? And so it comes with pleasure. It comes with fun, and you're being invited to follow the pleasure principle. And let the erotic current guide you through what you love to do. Let that be there. And otherwise, you'll lose meaning. It'll just lose appeal for you. So you've got to be lit. There's a fire that needs to be lit for Sagittarius. So Uranus in Gemini does speak to relationship instability. So there may be issues in relationships. If you're single, this year might not be the year for the committed relationship. Probably, maybe the situationship happens this year. Jupiter in Leo, though, speaks to travel. So there's potential for travel this year for Sagittarius to learn and to expand. So Sagittarius are on a good run this year. So you get serious about what actually brings you meaning. That creative project you've been talking about for the last 14 years actually lands. How exciting. That's great. So Capricorn, the main focus will be home and foundations. So potential instability in the home. With Aries in there could be arguments, there could be like robust conversations, shall we say that, changes that happen in the home. Old ideas and what you thought was safe might collapse this year. So you're rebuilding the structures in the home. And Uranus is going to change your work routines. So anything like you might change office, or you might start working from home, or you might work more hours. Like your work routine will be different. Maybe you'll take on a different role, but in the same organization, something like that. And Jupiter in Leo will create some emotional and financial support, which is great. So there's some growth there, which is amazing. Probably from those robust conversations, right? In the home. Yeah. So Aquarius, communication and thinking. That's the main focus. So we're talking about the pressure to communicate clearly, to be coherent, to have coherent in your language. Mental fog is going to clear this year. So if you've been feeling foggy because of that Piscean Neptune thing, that's the transit that's been happening, this clears for you this year. And you get to have those creative downloads this year, which is exciting. That's fun. And so it's a little unpredictable with Uranus. So creativity will just drop in when you least expect it. Just have an idea and a bang. And then all of a sudden you've got like this series of networks of things that you could do with that one idea. Okay. So Jupiter in Leo will be in the 7th house this year for Aquarius. And yeah, relationships expand. So, this is a good year for fun and warm-heartedness. And remember, we talked about Jupiter being open-hearted, like just wear your heart in your sleeve, especially suitable for Aquarius, even though they struggle with being like emotional. But this is your year, Aquarius. Do it. Okay. So last one, Pisces rising. This will be about money and self-worth this year. That's going to be the main focus. So financial reality checks. Where are there money leakages? Need to check that all out. Issues around self-worth will be activated this year. And this is about taking action on the financial leakage. You're not to sit on it this year. Don't hope it's going to go away. because Pisces can do that. We'll just kind of distract myself into something else. Have a glass of wine, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
No, it won't. You need to sort it out. So Uranus will be in the home this year. So there might be some sudden changes in the home. Maybe a family member moves in, or maybe a family member moves out, or maybe literally you move house, right? And so Jupiter in Leo will bring opportunities, work opportunities. So say yes to the opportunities as they arise. Don't doubt yourself. Pisceans can be at times a victim of their own shadow. Like, don't doubt yourself. Just say yes to the opportunities. So, as I've written here, bottom line, you stop waiting for security and you just start building it. Just make it happen.
I love that.
Okay. Done.
Wow, amazing. You're amazing. It's so much to get through.
I know. I know. I should add, I've got a Gemini rising, Virgo sun, so I've got a lot to say.
Yeah. Well, and it's so
Yeah.
interesting because, I'm glad that you started with the overarching things at the beginning because you can see how those weave through each of the signs independently. And it's just that slight tweak in the expression or the area of focus for each of those signs. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good one to remember. And I think there were some messages in there that you said, even with that last one around, stop waiting for security and start building it. I think that's such a good message for everybody around whatever the area of focus is, right? Stop waiting for some magical thing to come around and change your life for you and start
Yes.
creating it, So,
Yes, yes, yes. And actually, just if anybody's like really like obsessively fixated on astrology and they want more depth in what I've just shared, what they need to do is just apply each of the signs to each of the houses that are ruled by that sign. And astrology buffs will know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
So if your first house is ruled by Leo, go back and listen to Leo, or I can even share the content. That's fine. I can attach it. People can use my cheat sheets if they like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so that you'll get a more in-depth read. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
lot
it's
though.
how to break
It's a
up.
lot.
Yeah, it is. But I mean,
Yeah,
some people, we've all got different levels of commitment to different areas of our life, I suppose.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, and I definitely like, for me, one of the things that I love about astrology is it just gives me that heads up. It's like, number one, this isn't going to last forever, so don't pretend,
yes,
don't be a victim of it. It's a period of time and it has a purpose.
yes,
And number two, if you know that in advance, then as you hit it, again, it's easier not to fall into that victimhood. So it really helps me to stay quite empowered in my life and to look at, okay, well, how do I best utilize this expression of the energy that we're experiencing through the archetypes and through the planets and stuff? How do
yes,
I best utilize that to create what I want to be creating? And sometimes
yes,
that literally is, you know a planet is going to come and redo everything, and your job is to surrender right now and to not try and control it, which
yes,
for me, it's like,
yes.
snare it out, deep breath.
Yeah, yeah. This is why I love solar return charts. So I taught myself basically how to read solar return charts, and they are so accurate,
Mm,
like uncannily accurate. And they're a map for your year ahead based on your natal chart and the progression of you evolving in your natal chart and the themes, details of situations. It's all in the chart. It's amazing. And you bet your bottom dollar I look at mine and I look in years in advance too, just to
you
check
do.
out what's going down.
How long the
They're
race
probably,
is for.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and yeah, they're the ones, those charts people keep coming back for because once you've had
Yeah.
your natal chart read and you understand it, it's kind of like a once-off reads. I'll record those for people so they can just go back and listen to it again. I mean, you can always go deeper, but the solar return charts are so informative.
Mm,
I love them. I love them. They're gold.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Well,
great.
maybe when we have you
Mm.
on again, you can do my solar return chart. That would be cool.
Yeah, we'll do that. Sounds
I can
great.
listen to it and
Yeah.
hear from that date and actually review and be like, holy crap, this is how that worked and this is how that worked, put it all together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Very
Let's do
interesting.
that. I'll be up
Very
for that.
interesting. So, thank you so much for sharing all of your incredible wisdom and interpretation of events upcoming and current. How do people follow you, get in touch with you, get a reading from you, all of the good juicy stuff?
Yeah, well, so you can find me on Facebook, marinalovasz.com, Facebook, marinalovasz.com. You can all, excuse me, you can also find me on my website, which is marinalovasz.com. Pretty easy. And yeah, I've currently I'm relaunching my Astro Blueprints 7-month training for astrologers, people who want to be astrologers and who want to add that as a offering in their sacred arts business. And yeah, I love doing charts for people and people love them, particularly solar return charts. It's really great for income for just to add to an ecosystem, of your offers, particularly for people who read tarot or anybody who's really involved in the sacred arts, because you can apply the chart to anything.
Yeah,
I use it
as
with
you were talking, I was thinking, God, this would be so beneficial for my clients. Like we go,
100%.
particularly my students, but anybody who's wanting to work on themselves and wanting
Yes.
to develop their integrity of self.
Yeah.
It's a really, I think, beneficial tool to add into that level of awareness of self. It's like, okay, well, these are actually the pieces that are immovable. These are the pieces that are going to fluctuate. These are the pieces that are currently in flux. And this is how to utilize it all best.
Yes. Yeah. The potential is and today it was very conceptual, right? Because it's a podcast and we're talking.
Broad.
But yeah. I love to apply astrology somatically.
Mm,
So people have a felt sense of the planet, the cosmology moving through their felt experience
mm,
and their own unique relationship to that felt experience. And that's what deepens your understanding. You're kind of living the astrology and not just reading about it. And
mm.
that's what I do in the course. It's deeper on, for that on that
Sounds
level.
a little bit
So
juicy.
yeah, it's good. It's good.
Speaking of
Yeah.
pleasure. Yeah, amazing. Well, look, thank you so much again. I really do look forward to speaking with you again. And I trust that everybody who's listened to the podcast has gotten what they need from it. And I look forward to having another chat at some stage. And if you guys did get some value out of this, definitely go over and check out Marina's stuff. Like I said, she came very, very highly recommended. And now having spoken to you, I can see why. So thank you so much.
Oh, that's lovely. Thanks so much for having me, Nerida. I was really excited to be here today. And you could probably tell I was getting excited about the astrology, but just grateful, really, that I get to share what I love. And you've given me an opportunity to do that again. So thank you.
Welcome, my
Thanks
pleasure.
so much. Yeah.
Okay, that is it from us for today for the Enquiry Podcast. All of the links that you're going to want to find is going to be underneath this episode. So jump along and make sure that you're following the people who do join us for the Enquiry Podcast. I'm sure you'll agree they are absolutely phenomenal, and it is my absolute pleasure to be able to have them come in and share their wisdom with everybody. If you're wanting to know what I'm up to, jump onto my website, neridamills.com, and you can check out all of my opportunities to get involved, be they free things or programs or events. You can always come along and say hi. I would love to see you.